Hi, my cousin who lives in Minneapolis with his wife and young daughters emailed the family about what's going on there and what they're going through and what the city's going through as a whole. And so I thought I would print it out and read it to you just to give everybody some context from someone who lives there. It's a little long, so stick it out if you can, but I think it's important to contextualize everything. Hey friends, I haven't written in a long time. It's been more than 15 years since I wrote anything more than a couple of paragraphs outside of a KPI, project proposal, or something business related. I have 3 children, ages 2, 4, and 6 years old. They are wild, rambunctious, fun, and as needy as any kids that age can be. I have a wife, I have a dog, I have friends, hobbies, and so much more. I'm telling you all this to emphasize a point. Despite how busy I am, I think it's important enough for me to carve out the time to write this letter to explain to you the situation in the Twin Cities. I won't go into details, as I'm confident most of you are already aware. The federal government has killed 2 U.S. citizens in my city in the last few weeks, and they have detained without due process thousands more, not because they are violent criminals, but because they aren't white. They have sent thousands of federal agents, the largest ICE campaign in any metro area in U.S. history, not to mitigate an immigration crisis, but rather to control, intimidate, and spread fear in Minneapolis, St. Paul. I'm here to let you know that they have been successful in achieving many of their goals. We are terrified. I don't say that to get sympathy or to imply that the community here has given up. I say it to warn you that when they come for where you live, you will not be able to prevent them from being successful in your city. Life here is very different than it was a month ago. Every time you run into a friend or neighbor, your conversations immediately shift to the current events of our city. The boring niceties of yestermonth, like how's work, what's your kid up to, or seen anything good lately, are largely irrelevant. Instead, the most recent ICE sighting, what you're currently doing to process the cause, or what new piece of information you picked up from your local signal chat dominate conversation. Instead of making plans for a guy's night out, I'm texting strangers to volunteer to do grocery shop or to connect them to a journalist contact my good friend gave me. I've sat in my living room rapidly texting my neighbors while my kids struggle to get their winter coats on, making us late for swim class or the cooking class themed birthday party. I monitor our neighbors' rapid response chat to make sure to be on the ready for any ICE abductions to observe. They're happening on every street and block in our city right now. I've checked the headlines, constantly refreshing to see if the story I think should appear does, all the while my soup boils and burnt crust builds on the bottom of the pot. I've stayed up late, woken up early as my mind buzzed with what actions could next be taken to prevent this administration from infiltrating me and my family's town and lives. The things we are all doing, are all individually small, but put together, they've amassed a swell of positive impact and resistance, and with it, an immense amount of pride for ourselves and our community, our city. 5 years ago, another major event happened in MSP. George Floyd was killed 20 blocks from my home, just down the street from where Renee Good was murdered, and the same distance from where Alex Peretti was executed. When that killing happened and the protest began, it was the people versus government at large. People cried in the street to, quote, defund the police, unquote. Perimeters were set up around where he was shot and a no government zone was claimed, with cardboard stop signs being thrown up at intersections and streets being closed with no city authorization. This was a Minnesota problem. Hell, it was a Minneapolis problem. It was perpetuated by a lifetime cop from our city, and our officials and community members were driven to take the appropriate steps to right the wrong. Although it became a national movement that propelled BLM forward, it was, for us, a local conflict. The current situation is completely different. The Trump administration is attempting to control us, and this fails the United States, not only in terms of state independence, it fails it in terms of differing opinions, of allowing semantics, of alternate thoughts prevailing over the same situation, of friendly arguments, of differing opinions, of anything sacred to the ruling thought in this country. Freedom of expression in all its forms. The communities of Minneapolis rebuilt in the aftermath of George Floyd stronger and more resolute than ever. What we endured then taught us how to build networks of community now and how to depend on ourselves and our people rather than the government to coordinate and build resistance. It taught us to be hesitant about the media because it isn't always on your side in their effort to portray what they deem a, quote, fair, unquote, story. For the first time ever, real police reform was a success, and the Minneapolis DA's office became the first DA of a major city to try and convict a cop of killing a person of color. I can't comprehend how we are here again. But I am sure what we saw in 2020 better prepared us for now. Our city is alive with collection action and resilience, an enduring legacy of George Floyd himself. And man, are people doing incredible work here. The thing that the media doesn't get is how hard this community is working to resist ICE on all levels. On Signal, an encrypted messaging app, vetted neighbors under pseudonyms are constantly organizing GoFundMes for rent assistance, exchanging and forming huddles for legal and medical needs assistance, connecting at-risk families with food donations, and generally supporting each other. Every few blocks, some church or business is doing its part to assist not only undocumented immigrants, but people of color who are too afraid to leave their homes. Because right now, thanks to ICE, in our state, you can be pulled over and detained just because you aren't white. And that makes a lot of people scared. But the people supporting the community now, or attending protests, or observing ICE abductions with whistles and their phones, are just ordinary citizens, neighbors like you and me. We may or may not have attended the BLM protests or the No Kings rally. Some, like me, were busy with ordinary life. But ordinary life is gone now, and no one is sitting on the sidelines. We are people who have heard the whistles and have come out their front doors onto the front lines of whatever this is now. No one I know hasn't done something in the last week to help the cause. I've packed boxes of food for families in hiding. My wife has driven terrified people to work because even though they're at risk of getting detained by ICE, they must pay rent and buy groceries for their kids. Our neighbors house someone we know in their basement like a modern-day underground railroad. Our teachers have reopened elective remote learning to support the at-risk kids sheltering in place. And we all attended the march last Friday, where some 50,000 community members joined to say in one unified voice, quote, ICE, get the fuck out of Minnesota, unquote. The difficulty of this movement is connecting it to those outside of Minnesota. I've been in the same position. It's not happening to me, so why should I bother? The reason you should care is that Minnesota is just the beginning. They will come for your city or state too, especially if they're successful here in Minnesota to act without impunity. Even if you don't believe it, what we have witnessed here makes the idea of a national conflict much more believable to me. My family, I believe reasonably, has devised an escape plan if the National Guard and ICE begin fighting each other. For the first time ever, I investigated procuring a firearm for the safety of myself and my family. I'm worried and I'm doing everything I can to effect change. So, my request to you, as you read this, is to consider what you can do to help. Think of what action you can take to help here and to prevent this administration from ever sending federal agents to your state. Here's some suggestions. The easy. 1. Share this or write your own. I give you permission to forward this on to whomever you please. I'm also happy to be a resource for whoever wants to be a part of the cause. 2. Connect with your neighbors. Download Signal, create a neighborhood group, and start test driving light community organizing. Call or write your representative. 4. Quit your social media or go dark. Big tech money goes all the way to the White House. Resisting the algorithm and searching out information on your own. Trustworthy news sites and open information is imperative. Go on a general tech strike. 5. Participate in blackout or general strike when scheduled. Once again, follow the money. These are one of the few ways to get the point across. They're only successful when the masses participate. The harder. 1, donate time or money to the cause. There are countless things you can do. If you have specific skill or think it could be of use, please reach out and I can help you find a home. That's for me and the family, but I've attached a link in my bio, so check that out. 2, participate in a protest. Pull out the tie-dye and jean jacket from the back of the closet, get your headband on and hit the roach if that's your thing. Hilarious, dude. It's time to hit the streets. So, just wanted to share that with you. Hope that helps. Let's go.